Another Google helpful content update. No doubt, if you've been watching any videos about the new Google update, you've seen a lot of people complaining about a massive drop in traffic and huge drop in revenue. In fact, many people are saying that this new update is only benefiting the big websites. Yeah, we're talking Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, even dictionary websites. So the question is, has Google gone all corporate, where they're only favoring the ultra-rich, big, successful sites, and the little guys like you and me get left in the dust, fighting for peanuts? Well, things aren't always what they seem. And today, I'm going to show you a secret little loophole hidden inside the 2023 AI version of Google's helpful content update. This loophole can make you a ton of cash. But don't just take my word for it. In fact, Google made almost $300 billion last year alone. And I think it was something like 95% of that came from ads on search, which means they're getting paid by advertisers. Which also means that if advertisers are paying money for Google traffic, then Google search traffic is worth trillions of dollars. Yes, that's trillions with a T. Which is why so many people are upset and freaking out over the Google helpful content update. Because if your traffic goes down, then so does the money. However, across the thousands of websites I manage and my clients have, we've actually seen an uptick in rankings and traffic. And in just a minute, I'm going to show you exactly how that works so that you can get the same kind of results for yourself. But first, a story. Back in the year 2003, when my little internet business was 3 years old, I had many websites that were ranking on Google and making me something to the tune of $30,000 a month in profit, which doesn't seem like much now, but back then I was only like 20 years old and 30 grand a month was a lot of money. And then later on that year, Google came out with what was known as the Florida update. This update was designed to weed out different bad search results. It was mostly focused at people that were ranking for terms and trying to exploit the search engines. People that were ranking for like Chicago pizza and then leading to sites that, yeah, there wasn't any pizza on them. Let's just say it was a really bad user experience. And that update took a certain toll on many different websites. And I remember being about 23 years old. I had just purchased my first house in California, and back in 2005, houses weren't cheap, let alone houses in California. And there I was making $30,000 a month, which equated to about $1,000 a day. And all of a sudden, with one click of a button over at the Google headquarters, I went from making $30,000 a month down to a measly $100 a day, which wasn't even enough to cover my mortgage. My search engine rankings dropped by over 80%. My revenue just went down the tubes, and I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to turn to. In fact, at one point, I paid an SEO company $10,000 to rank my site. And after spending all that money, the traffic didn't even change. Oh, sure, I had a bunch of rankings, but it didn't equate to people coming to my site, which is how I was making money. And this was a super scary time. But I learned a few things since then and was able to focus on monetization and really helping people out with my content. Fast forward to 2008, we had another algorithm update, which didn't really affect my sites all that much. 2011, 12, and then in 2018, we had the first helpful content update. Again, my sites didn't see much change. And the reason for this is something super important. And if you're ready to learn the secrets of how to rank on Google, make tons of money, and provide good, helpful content, then smash that like button, because we're starting right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. If you're excited about this one, make sure you smash that like button, because we want to get this message to as many people as possible, because right now with the Google helpful content update, we are seeing a lot of people freak out and a lot of people not knowing what to do. Now, this is something that I've been going through for a long time in my 23 years of business. And in fact, if you take a look at the Google homepage today, you could see that it says G25 goal, which we know doesn't spell Google. That actually means that they have been around for 25 years, I believe, as of today. So there's a lot of good stuff we want to go through here. I've got tons of notes here, including some note pages that we are going to show you where you can get them and stay on top of all this stuff. Now, one of the things I want to look at is a fantastic article by AMSIV, I think is how you say it, where they were talking about who were the winners and losers of this Google helpful content update. Now, it's very important that we look at this with a very, very keen eye, because I think we can spot a loophole that is going to help you make lots of money if you're paying attention. And if your search engine rankings have dropped, this is going to help you understand how to get them back and why. We have gone through so many data points, it's not even funny, to really look at what is going on, where are the loopholes, and how is Google responding to the massive influx of AI content. I mean, let's face it, since the beginning of this year, AI content has skyrocketed. I mean, I'm talking probably billions and billions of AI-related content on Google now. And where's it gonna land? How is it gonna work? And can you make money with AI content with SEO? This is something super, super important. Now, I'm gonna show you a report here in just a minute. And is our sound working okay? Is our sound working, or what do we got? Let's see if our sound's working here. I think it is. Let's try that. Is our sound working now? Testing, testing, testing. Hopefully our sound is working. Type sound if it's good. Sound is good? We're not having too many peaks, are we? Okay. All right, just turn your sound up if that is the issue. Now, we're going to go through and look at this because the data points are super important when it's looking at AI. Now, one of the reports that we are going to go through is this report that I actually created partially with some help on how the Google algorithm update works. Now, I want you to tell me if this is something you want. I'm going to show you where to get it over at downloadmynotes.com. And what we did is we actually looked at the data and looked at what the core updates are doing, right? This is super important stuff. If you guys dig this, smash the like button. We're going to give this to you as well. But what we did is we created a report about this stuff. Now, how many of you guys, you look at this and you're like, okay, as an SEO, as a person dealing with trying to rank on Google, this is a pretty good looking report. It's 19 pages. It's talking about the issues, the strategies, the recommendations, frequent analytics checks, all kinds of different things to help people rank on Google, which is something that's extremely important. Now, when we look at this, I want to let you in on a little secret. First of all, tell me if you think this is a helpful piece of content, okay? Because this is where the rubber meets the road, okay? This is something very important. I wasn't going to get into it just yet, but let's talk about this, right? When we talk about this, we are looking at Google, and we are looking at what is known as the helpful content update. All right, what does this mean? I mean, the key word here is helpful. So if you find something like that report I was talking about, where it's like, hey, this is helpful, I'm looking to rank, that talks about how to rank, it's compiling a lot of stuff, I think this is good. So if you think that's helpful, smash the like button. Let's go through this and talk about how this works in a real world way. Now, when we're looking at something like this, we can see it is helpful. Very helpful. It's got examples. It's got different things to look at, clarity, call to action. I mean, this is like a checklist slash complete overview of how to rank in Google. Okay, so we look at this, and it's about 4,700 words, 19 pages. It's got lots and lots of things. I mean, here we got different tools you can use. So we're looking at this, and how many of you guys are like, wow, you know what? Between you, me, and the wall, I probably have paid, you know, 90 bucks for stuff that's not even as good as this report. Now, we're looking at this, and I got a little confession to make. With a little prompting, I actually gave this to one of my workers and said, create an article about this stuff I'm talking about right here, right now, with, get this, ladies and gentlemen, get this. This is super important. If you get this, everything else is going to make sense for you. AI. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this was created with AI. And what we're going to talk about today is human-directed AI, which is far better than anything you are going to see anywhere online when it comes to ranking. So when we look at this, we're like, okay, this is human-directed AI. How many of you guys are like, wow, it's kind of mind-blowing. I wouldn't have thought this was AI, but it's human-directed. Now, when we look at Google, we're looking at the fact that they are wanting helpful content. You are saying, hey, this is pretty helpful. Now, there's one thing that determines whether a piece of content is helpful or not helpful. Let's go back over here and talk about what that is. All right? So when we're looking at helpful content, it all relies on one thing. This one thing is what you are going to learn today, and this is going to change the way you think about making money online. So if you're out there and you're like, okay, I think I know AI, and I think I know SEO, and I got a site that ranks, or whatever it is, or even if your rankings are dropping or growing, this is for you if you want money. Because this is the direction Google is going. Google's 25 years old. They are looking at a direction. They're looking at AI. They're looking at the trends. And if you can predict where Google is going, do you think that's going to put a little money in your pocket? I think it'll actually put a lot of money in your pocket. And that's exactly what I've been doing for over 23 years. That has made me millions of dollars online. Now, I will say, this year, 2023, I have spotted some trends that are making me, right now, far more than I've ever made using AI. Okay, far more than I've ever made before, and I'm using AI, which makes it a lot easier and a lot less expensive, so our profit margins are going through the roof. Now, how does this work? Well, first of all, I'm going to let you in on one word that is going to game change everything you're doing. And that is, and trust me, okay? Listen up. It's your old buddy Marcus here. This word is something you hear about a lot. And it's going to be easy for your mind to say, well, I already know that. Marcus, there's nothing new here. But follow with me, because what we're going to do is we're going to look at the data and you are going to understand it in a way that you've never understood it. And that word is intent. Intent. What does this mean? What this means is we need to focus on the intent of why someone wants helpful content. Because if you have helpful content and it's not for the reason you're trying to get people there, it's not going to work. I could have the best article ever on restaurants in my area of Florida, Orlando. Let's say we go Orlando. I could have the best synopsis. I could be like the Michelin star reviews. But if this person is looking for a quick restaurant near their house, that is not going to rank. But Marcus, I don't understand. It's a much superior piece of content. Content is in the eye of intent. This is super important. And when you look at it, you say, okay, there's different intents on YouTube, on Pinterest, on Google, on different searches, on different keywords. And when you start to understand this, everything's going to change. And we are going to look at the data, and I'm going to hand you on a silver platter the report of the data and what to do with it to put money in your pocket. Let's get to it. Over here, we can see that there's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, I went through, this is the report we're looking at for the AMSIF. Fantastic report. We will link to it in the notes so that you can see it. Now, what they did is they went through and they looked at like thousands and thousands of websites. This is something that I do every day. I have a list of websites on my Ahrefs so that I can go through and be like, oh, hey, what's doing good, what's doing bad, how did the algorithm affect this, that, or the other. And when we look at it, we can see several different websites that did really well and several that didn't. Now, a lot of people right now are complaining about the fact that Reddit was a clear winner. Right? If we were to go, and I'll do this off screen because Reddit does rank for some interesting terms that we want to keep this family friendly here. But we can go through and we can see how Reddit fared, reddit.com, and we can see this. Now, this trend is important because this is what's known as the user-generated content trend. Okay, I think, okay, we're clean, we're good. What we can see here with Reddit is that since the update, and I want you to look at this here. Okay, we are looking at Reddit, who started with a traffic of about 170 million a month, according to just SEO. This doesn't include people going to reddit.com. So for this, they started with 170. This Google update added about a fourth, a little bit over a fourth of traffic. And I think the number was, let's see here, I got a lot of notes, so bear with me. Yeah, the number was 68% increase in visibility on Google. 68%. That means if Reddit was making $100 million a month, which, yeah, they are, or making a lot more than that, but search volume here, that means that now they're making like 168. All right, if the site is making 10,000 and got the same boost, they'd be making 16,800. How many of you guys are like, okay, that's big numbers. That's something big. Let's take a look at what's going on. Now, Reddit wasn't the only winner, and I want you to look at that because when we're dealing with Reddit, again, let's talk about this. We are going to hammer this out, and at the end of this, you'll be like, okay, I get it. This makes sense. What we have to do is we have to look at Reddit, all right, and we have to look at the intent of people looking at Reddit. Okay, Reddit is a different type of site. Why do people go to Reddit? Well, they go to Reddit to see what other people say. Okay, this is called user-generated content. User-generated content. Reddit doesn't really make their own content. The people make the content. Facebook doesn't make its own content. Facebook uses other people's content. Guess what also got a boost, ladies and gentlemen? Facebook. YouTube. A lot of these sites got big boosts in this last update. Why? Because they are now seeing, hey, wait a minute, this stuff's actually helpful. Now, there was some interesting things that we looked at as well. One of them was Zappos, right? Zappos was one that I found on the report, and this was actually like several reports that went through all this, but Zappos was one that actually lost. They lost, I believe it was like, let's see here, Zappos, like 60% or something like that. It was a big number. OutlookIndia.com lost out. And a lot of them, so Zappos was 27%. Now, when we look at Zappos, we have to say, well, Marcus, you know, the site's about shoes. If it ranks, like shouldn't it rank for anything and everything shoes? Well, let's think about this, okay? This is going to change the way you think about a lot of stuff. So if we go over here and we look at, we got Zappos, right? So Zappos is about shoes. I don't know, I'll try to draw a shoe here. Right, here's our shoe. It's got a heel. It's a fancy heel shoe. That there is expensive stuff. We got shoes here. This is Zappos. All right, and Zappos is ranking for lots of keywords. They're ranking for, you know, the Nike boot or whatever people wear these days. And we look at this and we're like, okay, well, they should rank. So why did they lose 27% of their traffic? Why? I mean, they're doing everything every SEO guy says is king. They are doing everything right. Why did they lose traffic? Does anyone got a guess? Put it in the box below, and I will tell you as well. All right? There's a big reason, and I'm going to tell you One of the reasons was this here. Okay, let's take a look at this. So here we have the keyword Zappos coupon. Okay, now some people say not helpful content. Not helpful content. No. It was helpful. I mean, I found the shoes. But when you have a term like Zappos coupon, you're not necessarily looking for the Zappos website. You're looking for other websites that have coupon codes. So for them to link to Zappos coupon to Zappos is counterintuitive. Does that make sense? Is everyone getting this? Very, very important. This is the kind of thing we use all the time. Just yesterday on our Blog Profit Network call, we were talking to people that got lots of rankings. They're actually doing better with the update and AI content, and they're making lots of money. So we're going to look at this and be like, okay, I get it. So Zappos coupon, that's an interesting one. I'm getting where this is going, okay? I see, yes, we got Zappos coupon, we got all this other stuff. And when we start to look at it, we can see what some of these sites are looking like. I actually went through and put a bunch of them into Ahrefs to show you how it works, okay? So we could see here that Zappos at one point was losing like 80,000 search engine rankings a day. Now, again, let's take this with a grain of salt because sometimes the keyword tools aren't super 100% on point. But what we can do is we can actually go down here and we can take a look at the ones that actually lost or declined. And this will give us an idea of what Google is looking for. And hopefully this will load here. We might have to do it again. There we go. And it'll give us an idea. So we have like Brigton Jewelry. All right, that one went down. Why? Why, if they ranked for that, would they go down? Birkenstock Madrid. Okay, well, I mean, you look up Birkenstock Madrid, okay, and we see, okay, we got some stuff up here, Birkenstock, Amazon, videos, shopping stuff, Birkenstock.com, Nordstrom, and some other stuff, and then Zappos is down farther. Okay, so why? Why? If we were to look at this, we could say, okay, so, I mean, they got backlinks, right? It's not like Zappos is hurting for backlinks. They're not like, oh man, we got to get more backlinks. That's the secret. If I just had more backlinks, this would be the key. All right, that's not it at all. Because we're seeing here that, I mean, I don't know, I think that like 22 million backlinks in the shoe market is probably pretty good, right? So that's not the problem. Their site has Birkenstocks on it, so that's interesting. Why is Amazon winning over them? Amazon's not a shoe site. Interesting, right? Like by all logic of SEO brilliance that is out there, Zappos should win, right? Type it in the box if you're like, dude, Zappos should win. Hands down. Like it should not even be a question, okay? Oinkmoo says, is it the quality of backlinks that got penalized? No. It is what I believe and what I'm seeing here and what I've seen for 23 years, I believe it has to do with the intent of the searcher. Okay, now it's not perfect. It will get things wrong. It will struggle. But if we understand the intent, all right, so you got shopping stuff up here, Birkenstock info over here, Birkenstock.com, Amazon, and then YouTube. So interesting. If I was an affiliate and I was selling Birkenstocks, what would I do? Right? How would I, as the little guy, compete with this? Now we have the mom edit. That's an interesting one, right? The mom edit. Okay, I'm not sure what this is, but it's kind of interesting. And we could see, why did they rank? Did they do better? Did something this site did they increase in their ranking? And we're going to take a look at it. I'm just going to do it off screen. And it looks like, so right off the bat, I didn't even plan on bringing this site up, but I think it's interesting. Right off the bat, we could see that their keywords did go up. Traffic went down. That's probably due to like 1 or 2 keywords, so I'm not too worried about that. But when we go to our keywords, we can actually see, okay, they are more or less a review type site, it looks like. Okay, so now we got this. Let's go ahead and take a look at calendar. And we're going to go for new improved. And we're going to add the word Birkenstock. Birkenstock. How do you spell that? I don't know. That's a weird word. All right, so we're going to go here. And we're like, okay, interesting. Interesting. Birkenstock with socks, which I'm sorry, if you wear Birkenstocks with socks, you need to rethink your fashion choices altogether. I'm just saying. But at any rate, Birkenstock with socks actually went up 35 places. So they were number 36 or non-existent. Actually, it's new. So it boosted up quite a bit. Actually, no, that's the traffic change. So they boosted from nowhere to number 1. All right, and we could see here Birkenstock. Let's see when it first came up. It looks like it first started coming up a long time ago. So it's not something new. It's not like a new piece of content. It's something different. All right, so now we're looking at this. We're like, okay, interesting. Why is this doing so good? Why did this post knock it out of the park when it came to this stuff? Well, I think because people looking up the word Birkenstock, this one's kind of like a be-all, end-all post about how to wear Birkenstocks, even though they are encouraging you to wear them with socks, which, again, you know my strong opinion on that. They are talking about, hey, this is what the Birkenstocks are about. Okay, interesting. So now we have something where it's like, oh, I see the shift. The shift is from the intent of like someone looking up a Birkenstock to someone actually wanting to understand, like, okay, what is out there for Birkenstock? Does that make sense to everyone? Smash the like button if you get that, and we can see, okay, what else did Zappos lose out on? So Birkenstock Madrid, they lost a lot of traffic there, whatever this Donald guy is. And you start to see all this other stuff, okay, shoe stores, interesting. Why in the world would Zappos, which, ladies and gentlemen, is a flippin' shoe store. Like, you don't get more, here's a shoe store, searching for shoe. Why does it not rank? Right? How many of you guys are like, Marcus, I don't know. My brain just kind of halted and don't get it. Okay, you're about to get it. Don't worry. Your old buddy Marcus has got you taken care of because this is super important. Okay? So we look at this and we're like, okay, what do we got? I mean, why would it drop for the word shoe stores? Okay, so you got sponsored ad, you got some Carnival, you got Yelp, 10 shoes, Shoe Carnival, Foot Locker, Altamont Mall. Interesting. I mean, yeah, I'm sure the mall has some shoes in it, but that's not the only thing. Famous Footwear, Finished Line, and then Zappos, and then shoestores.com. Interesting. All right, anyone got a hypothesis here? I think this is super, super important. This is going to start to change the way you think about content, okay? Why would Zappos not rank for shoe store? It is a shoe store. However, it is an online shoe store. All of the other rankings were places I could drive up to. Interesting. Because, like, okay, Amazon's got shoes. Why don't they rank for shoe store? They are a store that has shoes. I think what they're doing is they're looking at local, which is a form of intent. Their intent is to find something local, and Google's figuring this out. Now, there are ways to utilize this. What we are going to need to do is we are going to have a multifaceted approach. Okay? Multifaceted approach. What does this mean? What does this mean? Well, it means that using AI and using content, one, yes, you need helpful content. That's a given. However, if I have an article about shoe stores, the first shoe store was founded in Bible times when they used to wash feet and wanted shoes. Back then, they needed shoes, and Bob, the guy, sold some shoes. No. That's not help. I mean, it is helpful. Yeah, if someone's writing a report on the history of shoe stores, that is helpful. But it does not match the intent of someone wanting to buy shoes locally. Okay? Very, very important. So now we're looking at that. We're like, okay. Helpful content equals intent. It is not helpful if you don't have the intent. Now, with our multifaceted approach, what we are going to need to do is look at what is there. So we look at what's there. We're like, okay, this is local. Could I rank for this local? We got Yelp. That's interesting. Why would Yelp rank number 1 for a shoe store? They're not a shoe store. They don't even have shoes. They probably have Birkenstocks with sandals. I don't know, Yelp seems like a Birkenstock sandal kind of place. But why would they rank for that? The best 10 shoe stores near this place. Interesting. So we look at this and we're like, okay, so Yelp, how did Yelp do? Let's see how Yelp did. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is about predicting where Google is going with search. Now, we are talking about a trillion, multi-trillion dollar industry. Multi-trillion. Okay? Now, someone says they're going with paid ads. Actually, I don't think so. I mean, of course, if people would pay for ads, it would help Google because they do like the money. But we have to look at this and say, okay, I don't think that's the goal here. I think the goal is local and reviews of local and big places that are local. And there might be other stuff too. We see Explore Brands. We see Rack Room. We see all this other stuff. Capital One Shopping, which is an ad. That's an interesting one. We'll keep that for later. We got Yellow Pages. Okay, we got some shoe show thing. Yellow Pages again. Find your nearest shoe store. So what would be the most helpful thing? Okay, I'm going to stretch your brains here. Okay, and we're going to see who gets this. This is super important. Okay, what in a perfect world, I'm talking the heaven of internet experience, would work for local or for shoes and the local? Because we're seeing that Google's like a local, shoes, top 10 local shoes, here's the mall, here's the this. What would be perfect? In a perfect world, I want you to type it out. We're going to go over to the board, and I'm going to show you how this works, why Yelp ranked for it, and what that means for you. Because if you can hack this, guys, we are talking. We need to zoom in here. This is important stuff. We got to zoom in. All right, humor me. I have fun doing this stuff. All right, we're going to have billions and trillions of dollars at stake. There is literally trillions of dollars. Trillions with a T. This would be like going into an industry where you don't have to spend a bunch of money and you can make a ton of money. I started my business with less than $100. All right, so what would this look like? Someone says Google Maps, the location in the title, site maps, to get out of your home and to the store right away. Okay, interesting. I'm going to show you what I think. Okay, this is something I think is going to shock you guys because it's different. Okay, here's what I would think. If I was in a perfect world and I'm looking for shoes, apparently I'm looking for a pen, but we'll call it shoes. Okay, here's a pen over here. All right, so apparently we're going to get this pen and we're going to talk about how this works, okay? In a perfect world, helpful content, intent, local. The intent is I want to go to the shoe store. All right, that's the intent. The helpful content would be, okay, well, what shoe store do I go to? All right, so I could go through and I could say, find your favorite local shoes. Here's your little shoe banner. It's a high heel or whatever, I don't know. It's a shoe, just trust me there. And then you got your menu and all that stuff. And you come in and you say, what type of shoe do you want? Okay? Or what are you most interested in? Saving money, selection, fancy, what do you want? And they go through and it's like, okay, here's one. All right, women's fancy shoes. Guys, basketball shoes. Marcus's weird looking shoes. Birkenstocks, please don't wear socks. This, that. And they click and it's like, oh, hey, over here in your town, the best place to get the fancy women's shoes are at Fancy Women's Shoes R Us, or whatever it is. Okay, does this make sense? You're like, wait a minute, okay, this is total, this doesn't seem like an SEO training. This seems completely different. And Brian, there we go. Brian says, Marcus, I bought your course last year, and I actually make money every day by selling basketball shoes online. There you go. You're probably not selling them to me because, I mean, the basket is way too high for me to put any ball in it because, I'm way down here, the basket's way up there. But at any rate, that's awesome. And we got a lot of people making lots of money with the stuff that we're teaching here, even the free stuff, right? So that would be a perfect world. How many of you guys are like, oh, that was kind of an eye-opening aha moment. I get it. That makes sense. Oh, okay, now I see how the helpful content is actually helpful in different ways based on different stuff. If you're digging this, smash the like button. These types of trainings are very difficult to do. We have a lot of research and back-end stuff that goes into these, so if you appreciate it, let me know by smashing that like button so that other people can appreciate it as well. And they'll probably appreciate you for smashing the button so they can see it. But at any rate, we're going to go through, we're looking at this, we're like, okay, now I see where it's going. Now, let's look at the content updates going forward, because if we can predict, okay, here's what Google's been struggling with, here's where they're going, here's how we do it. Very important. So, Florida update, this was the one that kicked my butt, and the 2005-06 one also kicked my butt. And then we went through and we're like, okay, here's the other ones. The most important ones that were so popular was Panda and Penguin. These ones shook the industry on its head. And guys, I've been doing this SEO industry for more than half of my life, right? That kind of gives away my age there, if you couldn't see the gray hairs. But we're looking at this and we're like, okay, Panda Penguin kind of kicked a bunch of people's butts. People freaked out. A bunch of people bought courses about it. We had Hummingbird. And then right around 2015, it started to change because people were starting to look at stuff on mobile. Then RankBrain, okay, they started to be like, oh, well, maybe we'll have a brain in here as kind of the first idea of AI. Then in 2018, everything shook up. And they're like, we're going to focus on the EAT algorithm. There we go. AI Marcus is not working well today. But the AI, the algorithm here is what changes things. And they were like, oh, hey, we want people that have lots of stuff. This is where years ago Zappos would dominate. Why? Because according to EAT, they are the king. They are about the topic. They are the authority. They know about the shoes. They sell the shoes. They wear the shoes. They eat the shoes for breakfast. Please don't eat shoes for breakfast. That was an example of my silliness. But at any rate, then they went through with Bert and others. Now, this one here, August 2023, the one that people are freaked out about right now, high quality, helpful content, demonstrating good EEAT. This is super important because they're like, wait a minute, back up. We got AI coming in flying, okay? And let me show you how this works. This is super, super important. Let's say, and this is an exploit. This is something that, it's a flaw in Google and people do exploit it. Don't, because you know what? That's not a good thing to do. But this is how it works. If you were to be able, let's say tomorrow, Zappos.com was for sale. And let's say for whatever reason, you could afford it, right? Zappos.com would probably be like $500 bazillion and 67 cents. And so we got Zappos.com. Let's say tomorrow, for whatever reason, like maybe your long lost uncle owns Zappos and he's like, okay, you don't get the shoe store, you don't get anything, all you get is Zappos.com with nothing on it. That's what you get. All right, how many of you guys are like, dude, if I got that, game over. If I own Zappos.com, most of you would probably say, yeah, I'd sell it, okay? But let's take a look. If you own Zappos.com and tomorrow you were like, you know, I think I'm going to have AI write the crappiest article in the world. I'm just going to go to ChatGPT and say, tell me about basketball. All right, and you get this basketball article, and you just put it on the homepage of Zappos. You know, like, that's it. Just 'cause I own the domain. I'm going to put the page on it. It's crappy AI content. This thing would rank like crazy. Wait, but Zappos isn't about basketball. How would that rank like crazy? Well, years ago, what we did in my SEO company, and we still do today, but years ago is when I figured it out, like 20 years ago, we would buy domains that had some rankings. Like, hey, here's a domain that got ranking. Let's buy it. Let's build it up. The same thing I do today. Now, instead of buying them for $9 like I did before, we're buying them for like thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars, and different things like that. So we look at this and we're like, okay, we buy the domain and it ranks. Just like a gal yesterday who's in a sort of self-defense niche kind of thing, more like hunting and things like that. And so she got a domain that we bought. I bought the domain for, I think it was $1,400. Sold it to her. I think with all the stuff that we did in the marketing plan, it was like $5,300 or something. So I made some profit, right? I'm in the business to make profit. That's the whole point of business. But knowing what to buy is what helps. And definitely watch my domain videos if this piques your interest. So we got that domain, and she put AI content on it, right? She went out there, got some AI content, put it up. Now, she said that she made a site over 2 years in the same niche, the same exact niche. In 2 years, it took her 2 years to start getting traffic, okay? And she made $6. With my site, my strategy on the domain, which, by the way, the domain we gave her, I believe, could sell for probably $6,000 to $10,000 to the right buyer. It's a very, very good domain, which is why all this stuff works. So 2 years. Now with my stuff, it took her, I think it was 5 days, she said, 5 days to get traffic. So 2 years versus 5 days, okay? And in the 5 days, she actually started making money, and she told me yesterday they're making money pretty much every day. And their traffic went up through the update. Interesting. How many of you guys are like, okay, I think this makes sense. I think I'm getting it. Because when you start to realize this, you're like, wait a minute. So what it has to do with is backlinks, because backlinks are people pointing at you. Why does Zappos, why do news sites, why do these sites do good? Because everyone links to them. And what they link to them about is what they're going to rank for. Now, there's also the relevant stuff, right? So like that gal with that site, she could probably put 10 self-defense items on it and rank well, even though her niche isn't just the one thing. Okay, so we're looking at this and we're like, okay, who are the winners? Who are the losers? Reddit, health websites, government sites. Who are the losers? This is interesting, because if we can tell what Google says, I don't want that, then we're going to know how to make a lot of money. One was parasite SEO sites, okay? So we've talked about this site before, outlookindia.com. I'll try to bring it up. I don't know if they have dirty stuff or not online. Outlookindia.com. So let's take a look at how this one did. Zappos was definitely one that lost, okay? Let's see. All right, there we go. So this one here, yeah, they lost quite a bit. They lost over 10% of their keywords and like over 30% of their traffic. Why? Well, what they were doing is they were exploiting the backlink and the power of the site. They were trying to rank for everything. And if I go through, I'll open this in a new tab or a different window because I want to make sure that it's friendly here. And we can see what they rank for and what dropped. So if I go United States and we look at what they ranked for, okay, there is some interesting stuff in there. Let's try the calendar. And okay, so their calendar, yeah, they're struggling here, right? They're really struggling. And we could see what went down. Okay, so there's some interesting stuff here. I think we're okay. It's pretty straightforward here. But we could see, okay, like if we do lost, let's take this one here, just make sure it's clean on the lost one. Just to make sure. Okay, good. So we're seeing here what actually lost, and it's like, okay, this one went down, which that did affect traffic quite a bit, free movies, arrangements. So there's some interesting stuff that went down. This one here for all, this is an affiliate page. Okay, interesting. So the Alpine, they were number 3 and they dropped to 17. Why? This is one that's important to me. How many of you guys are like, oh yeah, I've seen that affiliate offer. Why would this work? Why would it drop? Okay, you got a bunch of ads. You got the Daily World. So interesting that a news site still does show up. Okay, then we see Amazon, some kind of Prime Ninja Ice, whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. But at any rate, Tap Intro, Arlington Times, My San Antonio. So it's interesting that this still did work with news sites because technically this is not a news term. Like I would think, okay, I don't know what this, okay, so this is, you guys ready? We're diving in. We're getting into this stuff. You guys are going to learn. This is going to be a game changer, okay? So let's take a look at this here. So we have tangocharities.org. All right, I have a hunch. I have a little hunch, and I'm gonna verify that hunch here in just a minute. I have a hunch that this was using the exploiting method. Chances are the people that got tangocharities.org took over this site and just tried to rank for everything. And it looks like, interestingly enough, it started to skyrocket when Google's new update came out. Wait a minute. Okay, back up. How many of you guys are like, I'm a little lost on that? Why would this work? Marcus, isn't Google trying to get rid of this stuff? Well, it could be several factors. It could be maybe they took it over at that time. Right? We can go through and look at when they bought the domain, because chances are it was like a charity domain, and the backlinks had to do with charity. And Sorav says he lost 50% of traffic. Sorav, pay attention. This here is going to help you get back more traffic. I'll tell you right now, when these happen to me, every single time an algorithm change screwed with my income, I ended up making more because I paid attention to the stuff that you're learning right now. And this is something where you're going to want to go back and watch the replay of this several times, because there are things in here that if you're paying attention and you got your coffee, it's going to make a lot of sense. And you're going to start to see SEO, Google, and making money online in a completely different way. This is extremely important, okay? So let's take a look at this one. We got tangocharities.org. I'm just going to take a look at the backlinks on a different screen because they might have weird backlinks, and we want to make this a friendly show. Actually, it's looking pretty clean. Yeah, it looks pretty clean. So with their backlinks, we got, Tango Tab, Compass, big sites, Dallas Observer, big sites pointing in, like 50,000 big sites pointing in. Now, if we go here, I should be able to find, I'm going to do a Google for domain sale, and I'm going to put that domain in quotes. I'm going to try to find when that domain was sold, because I'm sure .org. Okay, we need to show this results. I'm guessing, let's try like this. Yeah, at some point it got sold or taken over, and it probably started putting a bunch of different junk. Okay, we could do a little bit more research later and find that out. But what we're looking at here is, well, where did the traffic go? Because I'm guessing if we go to this and we look at a page, we are probably going to see, where did that search ranking go? I know I had it here somewhere. Which one was it? It was something about, let's see, Alpine, that was it. So Alpine reviews, and we can see here with Alpine reviews, things just dominating with that. We can actually go through and see, so it was about 90 days ago. Let's see when the oldest one is for Alpine, because this will tell us when the domain was taken over, and what they did is probably just put junk there. See how this is grouped? So this might it might not be a taken over domain. It might be someone exploiting the group feature and doing user-generated content. So let me look at this in a different link. And if you guys digging this, I mean, I could keep going through this. It's a little difficult to do, but if you're digging it, smash the like button and let me know, because I think understanding this is going to be key. So we're seeing here, it is a review that is user submitted. So that's pretty interesting. And it's literally an affiliate link. So that's an interesting thing that this would rank, because it's not about that. Why does this rank? And you can see here, look at this dude is like literally, okay, yesterday Alpine reviews, the day before yesterday, want to buy Alpine, and we're seeing, okay, it looks like they're basically just spamming it, which, okay, it's charity site, and they're using that and exploiting that. But for whatever reason, it is working. So like I would look at this and be like, okay, is there a way that I could do user-generated content on these sites in a good way? Okay, and notice how we're seeing a lot of the same sites here. How many of you guys are like, wait a minute, are you literally uncovering the goal of how this is, like Google is $1 trillion money-making machine. It makes people trillions of dollars. I've made millions of dollars with Google rankings. And what we're looking at here is, why does like Tap Into outrank WebMD? And why is Tango Charities right there with MD? I mean, according to the EEAT, this thing should just be no. And it probably will be in the future. But what can we learn here? What can we learn? Well, user-generated content, good, important. Pretty much anything will rank if it has good backlinks. Okay. It's outranking Amazon, which you can actually buy this on Amazon. You can't buy it at the Tango Charities. There's an affiliate link. Interesting. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at the Tap Info one. Okay, so Tap Info. Type this one in there. We'll just go through this together, and I'll just keep pretending you guys paid a bunch of money for this training, and you can just smash the like button, and we'll call it even, right? But if you want to work with me, you can buy some stuff using the link below. The High Ticket Niches is where we give you one of the domains that we use. So we can see here, actually, you know what? Tap Into is doing pretty good. A lot of traffic, a lot of keywords came up. They almost doubled. Actually, they did double. It's within 30,000 if you do the math right. They doubled their traffic. And we're looking at it, we're like, wait a minute. So this algorithm just basically was like, we love you, Mr. Tap Into. And let's see what his site is about. All right, interesting. Keywords here. We can see his keyword. I'll wait for it to load. It's all over the place. Like, it's literally all over the place. I don't know what a cortex is. This stuff Interesting. Because how many of you guys, if you had this traffic, you'd be making a ton of money with affiliate marketing? Right? How many of you guys know that without me telling you? You're like, yeah, if I ranked for lean something review, and that would do the trick. Let's take a look at what else ranks. So they're number 1. Okay, YouTube, interesting. Tap Into, Amazon, some kind of journal site. So we're seeing a lot of news sites, okay? And I would say that is more or less exploiting the flaw in Google favoring news sites. So it seems like that flaw got better, which means the domain strategy got better, but it's going to get worse if people exploit it. And just to let you know, all right, I've been doing SEO for a long time. I'm not the best SEO. I actually suck at SEO. I'm good at getting domains, knowing intent, and selling stuff. All right, SEO, I'm good at research, but as far as like writing good content, I'm not great at that, okay? But I will tell you that years ago, the first time I realized this was, well, if we're going to tell a story, we need to have some coffee. First time I realized this was 2002, 2003. My buddy came over and we were buying domains and ranking sites. And, you know, we weren't good content writers. And I remember one day I bought a domain name about dental insurance. And so we worked really hard on this site. I bought the domain, put the site up. Back then we could do it instantly. Now you still can if it's Namecheap, but other ones take longer. And so within 12 hours of buying that site and putting up content, I literally ranked for the word dental insurance. We ranked for cost of braces, dental insurance, all this stuff. And to me, back then, even though I wasn't good at monetizing like I've gotten better at now, that ranking was worth about $6,000 a day with crappy marketing. Wasn't even good marketing. $6,000 a day. So if you start to realize, wait a minute, so like these people are literally looking up the product. You literally have the product to sell. So, I mean, you don't even need to be that good at converting. And technically, according to this, you don't even need to write that good of content, right? Like whatever reviews. Like I could probably outdo this guy with a, let's make sure it's clean. All right, I think we're good. With a AI written article. I could probably outdo this. It's not, okay, here's the review. Does the popular weight loss, whatever. Okay, it's talking about the thing. Are we getting any reviews? No. Not really. No. I'm not seeing reviews. Okay, here's some. So they copy and pasted a few. And these are only good from the sales page. So if I was looking up the reviews of this stuff, or you were, if you were looking up the reviews on this, and you can see Tap Into, this is like for a certain area. So this is a news site. So if I had this and I was looking up these reviews, that, in my opinion, is a bad user experience. Okay, let's go back to the drawing board over here, because we're going to talk about something super important. All right, so with that one, we are looking at, okay, so they're looking for Alpine reviews. Alpine reviews. It says Alpine reviews, okay? That's what they're looking for. In a perfect world, what would these people want? I want you to tell me in the comments, because I literally bought a TV here so that we can look at the comments, okay? Brian says, I came out of the box with SEO skills, tried Surfer SEO once, did nothing for me because all my articles started at 85, 90 for optimization. Yes, SEO is 99% the right keyword and 1% content and like a lot percent intent. So 99% should be focused on the intent and the keyword, not the other stuff. People talk about keyword density and, oh, you got to have H1s and H2s and H whatevers. The H's don't matter. They don't matter. What matters is intent. Okay, now also what matters, let's get the cat out of the bag. Here is the cat. I don't know why I decided to draw a cat. There's our cat. Sorry, I apologize for the cat. We're going to let the cat out of the bag. All right? Domain matters. Domain matters. I apologize. That cat's terrible. We'll give him a little, he needs to be a little fatter. All right? So it needs to be colored in. There you go. Now, that's a little bit better. Domain matters. Why did those news sites rank? Because their domain is popular. Why did they rank even though the intent didn't really match? Domain is popular. So what if you took an old whatever from the Marcus playbook, a page from the Marcus playbook, and you look at it and you're like, okay, what if we got a good domain that ranked about some? Maybe for the Alpine, I go get a weight loss domain. All right, that's on point. Or maybe like the gal who got that premium domain for the self-defense stuff, or the people we did with all kinds of other domains. We do this all the time. Apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently GoDaddy called me and they're like, you're kind of one of our top buyers. And I was like, wait, me? Okay, I guess so. I thought I was just a guy buying domains, but apparently I buy too many domains and I'm a top buyer. But at any rate, what if you got domains that were congruent? Ooh, wait a minute. Now, this is going to take the test of time. And while most people would buy Zappos and put all kinds of junk on it and rank and make a ton of money right away, there was a great case study done with the guys. It was for the Conch House domain that we talked about here years ago. And it's Matt Diggity, I think, is the one. He's got a great video with the people who did that. It was an exploit. It was a black hat method. It is not a method I do. It's not a method I condone. It is why there's a fight with the search engines. But what if I took that domain and made it congruent and ranked for the stuff the domain ranked for? Instead of going like this and having a spike in traffic and then all the money's gone, right? They literally made $800,000 in 1 month. And then the next month, it was useless. Like, go look it up now, it's gone, right? And we look at that, we're like, okay, cool, cool, cool. So they made money, then it's gone. But if they did it congruent, and they were like, okay, maybe I take over a domain about shoes. And instead of putting all this random content, maybe I focus and build a good site about shoes. I mean, who would have thought? And we start to look at this and say, hey, this is something that works like crazy. And it will work over and over and over again, because at the end of the day, you're providing value and you're looking at what it is. Maybe I could go through and do the Alpine reviews stuff. Or maybe I utilize the other stuff to point to my stuff. So instead of going out there and putting press releases out there and just linking to the affiliate product, link it to your domain, make a domain that matters, make it all congruent, which is going back to what we talked about in the beginning, which is, there we go, a multifaceted approach. What if I threw YouTube in there? I mean, YouTube's, you want to make money with something like Alpine. Again, I don't know what that product is. It might be a hunk of junk. I have no idea. But humor me. Let's say we have something like YouTube and we're like, hey, I made a good video about what the reviews are saying on YouTube. So I found all the reviews, we analyzed them with AI, and I gave you some data on what people are saying. 97% of the people say it's nothing more than whatever it is. 10% say, yes, I lost weight, but I think they're probably paid. And you give an honest review. Wait a minute, Marcus. At the beginning of this training, did you not say that Reddit was the biggest winner in this update? This is why. Because they're seeing it as relevant. Instead of going out there and just, oh, hey, you know what? Here's an article about what the reviews would be if there were reviews, but I'm really just talking about the product, AKA talking out of my place that we should not talk out of. What if instead you were like, oh, I get what Google wants. So I could literally use AI, go find all the reviews, do a summary of the reviews, make a good blog post about the reviews and a good overview of the product, then get press releases and other stuff, get domain, make it work, and boom, I would be a powerhouse for a long time. I'm talking make a living. That's like game changing. How many of you guys are getting this and you're like, oh, I just had the aha moment. Type aha in the box and smash the like button if you're like, oh, that's it. And this has nothing to do with H1. I don't know how many H1 tags are on my sites. I probably wouldn't even know how to code it. I think it's like the little things in H1. I don't know how many keyword densities are on my stuff. It doesn't matter. What matters is, how can I do good? And we need to look at our content strategy, and we need to say, okay, MFA, multifaceted approach. Then we're going to go through and we're going to say, wait a minute, what about also looking at this here? It's not an egg. I did not lay an egg. Let's look at, wait, what if we do keyword? Okay, so we go for something like Alpine reviews or whatever it is, right? Software reviews. And then we have deliberate content that's just helpful. Like, let's just help people. I am probably not going to rank for Google algorithm update. I'm probably not going to rank for helpful content update. I have the post on my blog. It's probably not going to rank. But what it does is it tells Google, wait a minute, let's look at this guy over here because his content is on point. Even though he might not rank for the keywords, his stuff is good and it makes us happy. Throw it in the mix. Eventually, that thing's going to rank. But in the meantime, all my other stuff is going to rank. And I'll say, oh, well, you know what? I'm talking about SEO. Maybe I'll talk about affiliate marketing. Maybe I'll talk about startup businesses. And we start to look at it as, oh, some of it's going to be keyword. Some of it's going to be this. Some of it's going to go over here. Some of it we'll put on the YouTube. Some of it will make some press releases. And it's not that hard to do. Guys, you got AI. ChatGPT is going to, it literally made this training for me. Right? I went out there, I took a bunch of videos, I threw them in the thing and said, make me a master notes list. And because I've been doing this 23 years, I'm also able to talk about other stuff. But even if I wasn't, you saw, let's look at the article. Even if I wasn't, I would say this article over here is pretty damn good. Right? How many of you guys are like, yeah, come on now, come on. You got Mastering the SEO. It talks about all this stuff. It basically talks about the stuff Marcus talked about on this call. Right? And how many of you guys are like, oh, that's pretty cool. And maybe we could utilize Reddit and help people out. And we're like, wait a minute. So that's AI. It's human-directed AI. Took my assistant outsourcer about an hour to make. And we're like, oh, now I get it. And why is that going to work? Because it is specific to what people want. It is specific to someone who is confused and struggling, and they're wondering why their sites aren't ranking, and they're having a hard time. Because everyone else is talking about H1, H2, H3, oh, you got to have this and got to have an image. None of that matters. None of it matters. What matters is, am I on point with what people want? Am I speaking the language of the intent? And when you go through and you understand how this can work, and you're like, oh, so now Ikera lean belly juice reviews. Okay, GlucoTrust. Like if you had that ranking, you would be making money on ClickBank now. And this is what we're talking about. When I take over a domain, we rank instantly. The gal with that site we talked about ranked instantly. My sites rank instantly. Here's one I just sold to a student of mine, Moji Edit, about emoticons. Ranked instantly. Literally instantly. It's going up It gained since then. And we start to look at it and say, oh, why? Why? Well, one, the domain was about emojis. The backlinks were about emojis. And everything is congruent. So now all I got to do is say, oh, well, how do I help people? Okay, they're looking up, happy face emoji, eggplant emoji, whatever emojis. How do I make an article? A lot of people say, well, Marcus, you don't understand. You need 1,500 words, 2,500 words. It's not about the words. It's about focusing on, can this person figure out what a pensive emoji is, how it's used, and how to understand it as fast as possible? Yes. That's why in these updates, you're seeing a lot of declines in things related to stores near me. How many calories are in this? If you notice, the changes Google makes tells you what they're doing, and it tells you where not to go. So if you look at like calories in an egg, which is a good keyword. All right, let's do calories in egg. Okay, calories in an egg, we can see here. All right, so they have a snippet here that shows you the calories. So they're saying all the person wants, their intent is 78. That's it. They're probably making their calorie sheet or something. Could we do better? Yeah, I think I could do way better. I could do way better than just saying 78. I could say, now print a sample diet for this or that or the other. And we start to realize, okay, that's how it works. And you can even do like calories in cheesy gordita crunch, which I think I still rank for. I don't know, I haven't checked it since the update. It dropped a little bit. I think we were number 10 or something. But there we are. It ranks here. And this was a joke. I made this as a joke back in the day. I actually had someone write this for me and made it as a joke to show you I could rank for a word like this. Why does it work? Because the intent matches. I could probably do better and rank better. Right? Maybe we'll do a test and change that up. But we start to understand, oh, okay, so it's about, like, what does this person want? And ladies and gentlemen, what I just taught you, if you can understand what does this person want, you can use AI to be a blank powerhouse. You could be a powerhouse. Because now I'm like, oh, so I just direct AI based on what I know about intent. Very, very simple. And like King, New Jersey says, that's what I've been saying for 4 years. For 5 years. Who cares about H1, H2 pictures, word count? Nobody. Nobody cares about them. Right? Google's not looking at, oh, well, your title works. Right? People on YouTube, oh, if I have the right tags. What tag? Tags don't even matter. Tags are like for if someone could possibly misspell something. Right? And we start to be like, oh, wait a minute. I get it. And you start to realize, okay, now we can go do this. And again, also looking at what traffic do I want? And when you look at a multifaceted approach, a lot of people might say, well, Marcus, your affiliate marketing dude is not an SEO powerhouse. I know, it's totally not. That's not the point. The point is I'm using multifaceted traffic approach because if you were to look at that one versus, like, let's say we go to SimilarWeb and you look at affiliate marketing dude, this is something different. I have a this is not the only thing that gets people to me. However, this month, even though this month was a complete slack off month and I didn't even do as much as I usually do, we still got 176,000 visitors specific to what I'm trying to sell. I'm not going for junk out there that doesn't matter. I'm going for things that's going to sell stuff that's going to put money in my pocket. And when you start to understand this and you look at this, you're like, oh, I see who the winners are. I see who the losers are. I see what's working and why. All right, so we could see what's working. Here's some, this is probably a news site, small business site. We can see what's working by looking at the data. And ladies and gents, here's 10 best. Let's see how they did. I don't know if they did good or not. But this is primarily a review site. And they lost their butts. They didn't even have butts anymore, right? They lost them. That was a joke. Calm down. And we could see they lost over 1 million keywords, over 1 million visitors. I mean, their revenue probably is
a tenth of what it was. Why? Because this update said they are not relevant. Why? 10 best. Okay, I'm going to do this off screen here. We'll see. So 10 best, why did they lose? Because they're a review site about everything. Apparently they're a review site about fluffy cows, okay, golf courses, gas stations with food. And we see they just really tanked. I wonder how he's getting that much traffic at ranking 62. That's got to be an error. But we see here they tanked because they're trying to do too many things. Had they just said, you know what, 10 best golf courses, that's what we're going to do. And they just talk about golf courses, oh, okay, that'll work. And if I was to take this over, I'd take it one direction rather than trying to do everything. They're trying to be a Yelp, and they probably don't have the user-generated content, so they're not going to be a Yelp. So they need to restructure their strategy. And everything you do online is about a specific strategy. If you don't have a content strategy and you're just getting keywords and hoping they rank, you are going to fail. It's going to struggle. I guarantee you're going to struggle. What you need is a strategy. And this is so important because people come to me all the time and they're like, Marcus, I want to sell this thing. And how do I do it? How do I do it? How do I sell this? How do I make this work? How do I make money with this, that, or the other? And I say, well, it starts with a strategy. How do you understand the niche as a whole? How do you break it down the way we did, do a multifaceted approach, and go for the things that works? Very, very important. And we start to look at this and understand. Weight loss supplement says the same blah, blah. LOL, this guy does not teach anything that he has applied first. Well, I'm literally showing you that I've been doing this for 23 years, but I mean, you probably know more about my business than I do because, I mean, after all, the experts are in the comments, right? But at any rate, we have to look at this and start to understand, hey, how does this work? How does this work? And if you apply it, it works time and time again. And you start to understand that, oh, wait a minute, I see how this works. I see exactly what's going on. And Brian, there you go. He says he bought the course. You don't even have to buy the course. I hear from people all the time who are like, I watch your free videos and make a living. But we start to understand, okay, this is about data. This is about what's actually working and how to get in there. And if you understand this, you can see where your site goes wrong, where your site does good, and how to get in there and make it work. Very, very cool. And we start to understand that. Okay, now some other things that we want to touch on as well is how to make this content, right? When we start to get our content strategy and we start to understand exactly what's going on, then we can use AI to make it work in a real world way. And this is something that I've actually tested out over the years. I think we calculated last week's video. I spent over $500,000 on content for my websites. A lot of it was AI. Most of it was human generated because obviously AI is cheaper. I would say apples to apples, we've probably paid for more AI. It just was cheaper, so it was less. But we start to understand, okay, this is what works. This is how it works. And now I can go to AI with the intent in mind. And I'm not talking about you go to SEMrush and you look up a keyword and it's like transactional, educational, informational, and entertainment, or whatever their categories are. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about specific for each keyword. When I go out there to make content, I look at the keyword specifically because let's face it, if you had a ranking for something like, you know, Alpine or whatever that was. Let's go back to that Outlook one and let's see what they got. Or Tango, okay, let's look at him. So for his keywords, let's make sure it's clean. There we go. For his keywords, yeah, it looks pretty clean. He's got all this stuff for reviews, okay? And it's all like weight loss, diet, reviews, juice, belly fat, all this stuff, okay? So what we want to do is start to look at it and say, well, what would the intent be? And you could literally go to ChatGPT like this, and you can literally go over here and type in what is the intent of people searching for Alpine reviews. Okay? Several interests in mind. So what do they want? They want to evaluate the efficacy. I think that's how you say that word. I don't know. I failed that class. They want to know side effects, safety, okay? They want to know satisfaction. Does it work? Great. All right, Steve-O, all the courses are listed in that bar down there. They'll pop up. Yeah, there's one. Blog Profit Network is, like, if you want to just start and get a feel for how I teach and things, Blog Profit Network is a great place to go because we have a call every week. You can ask questions every week. I mean, we got unparalleled support. It's some really good stuff. So now we're seeing this stuff here. Okay, great. Now I can go through and say, now please look at the reviews and tell me some common themes. What we're doing is we're getting AI to create a good piece of content based on the intent, which is based on the strategy. And if you have intent and strategy, I mean, it's over, right? So this says it doesn't have access, so I would literally just go copy and paste a bunch of reviews, throw it in there, see what the overview is and stuff like that. And now that it has this, you could say, okay, now do that for all these reviews, and it'll kind of show you. And what'll happen is I will get a stellar piece of content for people looking at those reviews. Amanda says, what if someone does not have backlinks and it's a new website? How does this affect them? If it's a new website, you're going to need to get a booster. Okay, you're going to get a booster, and then you're going to need a good keyword, right? If you're a new site, you need keywords that are less competitive, and you need really good content. And then you just go out there and link to the content. Make a Facebook group about the content. Let people talk about it. Post it on Reddit. Hey, here's the PDF of the article on my website. Different things like that, because if you can use that, like they did with the Alpine reviews or this site here, where they're literally linking to it, right? So healthylivewellness.com is where he's linking. And you could probably go through and see where he got his backlinks from. Okay? And that's all he's doing, right? So backlinks 141 looks like a lot of new stuff. And it doesn't matter that he's not ranking because he's not trying to rank, although we will try to rank. So we'll use the backlinks to get to our site, which will have the content. He's just, like, it's probably nothing on that website. It's probably just a redirect to affiliate offers. But you're going to do that with your new website. Does that make sense? Right? And then if you don't have backlinks, you can buy domains with backlinks all the time. It works really, really, really well. Okay? So really cool stuff. And then, you just go through and start to build it up. Now, I will say that, again, it really has to do with the strategy that you're going for. Strategy is everything. And if you want to learn more about the strategy and get the notes from this video, check out downloadmynotes.com. Over at downloadmynotes.com. You can put your name and email. We will give you a copy of the report, and you'll get a copy of this video and notes and different things like that. Also, if you want to see a 3-hour video that I did on content strategy, right? It's stuff that I'm going so much into detail, I can't do it live on my channel because there's so many variables and things that you don't know what you could share and different stuff like that. But on my site as a webinar, if you want to watch it, go to contentprofitstrategy.com. This is literally the keys to the kingdom of how I build content. And you can also have us do it for you. So you're like, oh, is it a sales webinar? Yes, it is, if you want us to do it for you. Right? That's how I sell stuff. You want to work with me? You can pay to work with me. You want to learn the secrets? Here they are. They're here on the channel for free. You can watch them till your heart's content. And later, if you want to work with me, you can buy stuff. Same here. I went through 3 hours. Like Holland says, the 3-hour one is awesome. I've watched it so many times. It is very on point. We have some notes coming out for it too. But this one here is about the strategy. Shows you the keys to the kingdom. If you're like, Marcus, yeah, I think it's worth more than $20 for me to have you do it for me, then you can buy it. But only after you watch it and say, oh, I get it. Now, use what you learned today and what you're going to learn at contentprofitstrategy.com, pair them together, and watch the trends and watch how this stuff works. Because, guys, there's a small gap of time that you can build really, really fast. I've seen this happen time and time again. And if you want to make money, smash that like button, check out contentprofitstrategy.com, and watch my other videos, because these are the keys to the stuff that has made me millions of dollars and countless other people lots of money. Remember, the results are not typical and blind or guaranteed. We have no idea what you're going to make. But if you follow along and treat this like a business, I think you could probably get some pretty good results. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button, and we'll see you